A generation that's grown up with gun violence and school shootings wants peace. Students across the country walked out of class this morning to honor the 17 lives taken during a school shooting in Florida exactly 1 month ago. Students at Glencoe Elementary School formed this peace sign.
And the future rests in your hands. Love one another, appreciate one another, and hopefully this will never happen again.
In Portland, that teacher encouraging students to be a force of change. And in Vancouver, students held signs to honor each person who died in Parkland, Florida. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Nina Melhoff. Today's walkout marks 1 month since Nicholas Cruz opened fire inside Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. Students say today is about remembering those lives lost and protesting gun violence. We have team coverage of the events happening throughout our area. Tim Gordon is in Beaverton, Rachel Raffanelli is in Vancouver. But first, we begin with Pat Doris right here in Portland. Pat, what did you see at Roosevelt High today?
Well, Nina, on the backside of the school, about 600 kids gathered in the bleachers to listen to their classmates and one of their teachers talk about gun violence.
Most states require permits to carry.
Hundreds of kids left Roosevelt High School around 9:30 this morning, gathering to express their feelings about gun control and safety at school.
And I don't feel safe learning if I have to worry about being shot at school.
Do you worry about being shot at school?
I mean, not at Roosevelt, because I know this is a safe community, but you never know.
Several speakers talked about the dangers of assault rifles.
No one is using these guns to hunt animals. Why then would a civilian need a semi-automatic rifle?
17 students stood with unlit candles to remember the 17 killed in the Florida school shooting. Teachers are not supposed to take political stances while they're on the job. Tracy Tellerico, a teacher and graduate of that Florida school where the last shooting happened, appeared to walk a fine line, telling the students about a book discussing rallies and fighting for causes.
And that's what we have here, great action. But what happens after today? What happens next month, 6 months from now? When the feelings have cooled and the memories have faded, what lasting action can you create?
The school superintendent was here. I asked him if he was concerned that the line was crossed. He said no, that he was comfortable that it was not. Governor Kate Brown was also here today. She told me that if Congress cannot do it, Oregon will ban assault rifles, raise the age to buy a gun to 21, ban bump stocks, and also ban high-capacity magazines. Back to you.
Pat, thank you. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler joined Lincoln High School students at their walkout this morning. The mayor stood back a bit while students stayed silent for the full 17 minutes. Afterward, he agreed to talk to the media if he could share the spotlight with one of the teens behind today's demonstration.
This is their movement. The question is this a moment or is this the beginning of an epic? And I believe it's the latter. I don't think this is a short-term trend. I think you're going to see youth engagement on a whole host of issues.
Regardless if people listen to us or not, we're voting in a year or two, so they have to listen to us soon. And this just because it doesn't involve them doesn't mean it doesn't affect them. These are your kids.
Students at Lincoln High ended their walkout by dropping letters into this bin to send to those students in Parkland, Florida.
Enough is enough! Enough is enough! Never again! Never again!
In the Beaverton School District, kids came out with a message calling for an end to gun violence in schools. KGW's Tim Gordon is live at Sunset High School where they fill the sidewalk there, Tim.
Yeah, Nina, they did. They came out from the front of the school and came to the sidewalk and into the grass area here along Northwest Cornell Road. And after a minute of silence, they shared their beliefs.
We believe that we should live! We believe that we should live! We believe that we should live! We believe that we should live!
About 300 students filled the area in front of Sunset High School. They held signs they'd made as they joined together with tens of thousands of other students across the country. As part of the National School Walkout, students are calling for a ban on assault-style weapons, universal background checks, and a gun violence restraining order law. These students feel a walkout and other ways of being heard can make a big difference.
So I just want to make sure that people see that we actually can change things, and that as a nation legislators do take into account that things need to change and that we should feel safe at school. I just want kids to feel safe at school.
Yeah, that was the main message here. The school supervised the walkout and students stayed on campus. It all lasted about 25 minutes. Nina, back to you.
Tim, thanks. Now we go to Vancouver, where hundreds more students walked out of class and held a moment of silence. KGW's Rachel Raffanelli is live in front of Fort Vancouver High School with what happened there today. Rachel?
And Nina, the majority of students here at Fort Vancouver High School did stay on campus. Here's some video from about 10 o'clock this morning when hundreds of students walked out to the front of the school. Their mission to honor 18 victims. 17 of the victims from Florida, and another is from an accidental shooting in Alabama. Students held signs with names and quotes, and each minute held one of the victims' pictures in the air. The Vancouver School District says as long as students do not leave campus, they will not be marked absent. And the organizer of this really big gathering says she feels proud of what happened today.
It makes me feel like we accomplished something, that it's making people understand that this is something really important and that we need people to understand that we need to feel safe here, that it really could have been us.
Some students did walk off campus today. They went to a nearby park to honor the victims, but also, they say, to spend more time after a moment of silence talking about solutions to gun violence. As for students who stayed on campus, Nina, they went back to class after 18 minutes.